Welcome to the AskOkey podcast, another Monday event for you. Pete here, obviously. I have the prof with you, or with me, with both of us. And don't forget, before we start, like and subscribe, please, in that order. Every little bit helps, and we value your continued support, loyalty, devotion to our cause. Now, Prof, to begin, this is a Solaro suit from W. Bill or Harrison's, I can't remember.
Well, it is from Harrison's, but specifically this is from Smith Woolens. And this is a Solaro. This is your traditional Solaro, which was trademarked, I believe, by Smith Woolens, the original Solaro. Now, of course, it's been duplicated by any number of vendors, and they call it their own version of Solaro. But the original name Solaro was trademarked by Smith Woolens, and this is, of course, carried by our partners, Harrison's of Edinburgh, as part of their portfolio brands.
But didn't you have? Is this the first time you've had a Solaro suit?
This is, believe it or not, this is the first time I've had a Solaro. It's a very popular fabric.
It is,
especially for the summer, and we're right in the middle of summer. And actually, I take that back. I did have a Solaro as part of my old Italian tailoring, but it was cotton.
Right. Okay.
It was cotton Solaro in the same color, sort of a light tan with orange herringbone stripes. But it was made of cotton, and I remember that was from Loro Piana.
Ah, okay.
That was from Loro Piana, and it was cotton. And it's been many years. I haven't worn that in some time. But yes, I did have a Solaro cotton, but this is the first time I'm having a proper Solaro wool made into a suiting.
And
wonder why it took me so long. Huh?
I wonder. So you've returned to the genuine Solaro, and of course the wool Solaro, which that's what that is actually very popular in Italy.
It is actually extremely popular in Italy because, again, it's designed for the warmer climate. Now, when I say it's designed for the warmer climate, remember we talked about this during one of the fabric series. We looked at this particular fabric when it was still in the form of a bolt.
We did.
And the explanation is that it's about 380 grams. So not exactly lightweight, not paperweight, not sort of what you would call Italian tissue paper weight. But the idea behind Solaro is that it reflects light. So it's got this sort of, it's sort of a tan with herringbone stripes.
Yes.
And then woven in between is some kind of reddish orange fabric.
Yes.
It's sort of like the socks I have on.
It is.
So you have sort of the tan, and then you have the orange line. So if you look very keenly into the cloth, you're going to see the orange thread running through it. And I'm not sure exactly, again, what the technology is, but the idea is that in the summer is a fabric that reflects light. It's a reflective surface, so it keeps the body warmer or sort of cooler.
Yeah, I think what it is,
in the sense that it doesn't allow the heat to get through the cloth.
Yes, I think what it is it's the direction of the pile, whatever you call it. You know, the ridges. I think that's part of it, and I have a feeling that there's a special kind of fabric in there. I'm not sure if it's entirely just plain wool. And we need to check that because there is a sort of trick to it, which I think is why they were able to patent it.
I suppose so.
Otherwise, I mean, come on. I mean, how many types of cloth can you actually patent? But they certainly did with that one. And yes, you're right. Very, very popular in Italy, probably because of the warm weather.
Correct.
In the wool variety.
Yes.
Now, this one is the standard Solaro color, isn't it? This is the traditional Solaro color.
Traditional Solaro color. In recent years, I've seen it done in green.
Yes.
And in blue.
Well, you have, I believe, a bolt of the navy blue Solaro.
No, I don't think so. I don't think I have a Solaro in anything other than the original tan. However, I've seen it done. In fact, I think one of our vendors carries it in a very light blue, almost a marine blue, like a summer blue, and sort of a mint green. I mean, these are really kind of
Yes,
very off the trodden path colors.
Yeah, you're
So
getting
you would
into
certainly stand out, wearing
You
any
would.
of those colors.
you're getting into Miami Vice territory.
There you
aren't
go,
you?
Don Johnson
Yes.
territory.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a traditional tan is a traditional
Mm-hmm.
color, and this is what most Italians wear this almost year round.
And are we going to see you in the mint green Solaro?
Not anytime soon. I doubt it.
Okay.
Well, with Prof, you never know,
No,
right?
I was going to say never say never again. Yes.
You've seen
yes.
more shocking,
Yes, I
more
have.
shocking
Oh, yes,
colors
yes.
and outfits.
Yes, indeed.
So you never know, but it's not on my let's say it's not on my checklist at the moment.
And it goes very well with a lightish brown shoe.
Yeah.
For those of you thinking of getting it and getting something made up, the lightish brown shoe, the orangey red sock, the sort of pinkish shirt,
Yes.
and the red tie.
It's a light pink shirt.
A light pink shirt, so you want something a little bit more than just white.
Yeah. Unusually flamboyant today, Pete. Anti.
Well, I wouldn't say unusually at all. I would say this is a very restrained prof that we see before us. But so we add this to the wardrobe. I think then I was looking at the navy blue version of Solaro. Not, I think Smith Woolens has it.
A navy blue.
Sort of a
Or
navy
you mean
blue.
sort of a bluish?
It might be a bit brightish.
It might be a bright blue. I don't know of navy, but I've seen it done in sort of in a blue and in like a shade of green.
I've seen the green one. I thought you had the blue one. I must be mistaken.
No.
The blue one I thought looked quite good. But again, it's got the slightly coloured herringbones in it, which is I think an acquired taste. But there you go. And of course, the Stand even makes one called the Suncloth, which I believe is a sort of Solaro.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've yet to come across.
Yeah, as you said, everybody has his own version
of it.
I saw a suit for sale on a website claiming to be Solaro, light sort of off-white color, for about $500. And I was really seriously wondering how you're going to get Smith Woolens to part with fabric. For the fabric cost in such a suit would be about $100.
Easily.
Which I can assure our viewers.
Or more at retail, certainly more than that. It's a quite pricey. It's not a cheap cloth.
No, it's not a cheap cloth. No.
Even with premium merchant like Harrison's, it's still one of their premium or premier fabric.
Yes.
So looking at probably closer to $150 a meter.
Absolutely. There you go. Yes.
Looking probably $150 a meter.
So there's your suit, 5 or 6 meters, and that's the cost of that's your $500 right there. The funny thing is that I don't know if people have figured this out yet, that when you see these value offerings, don't be fooled, because $600 means probably a production cost of $200. And so so out of the 200, if half's labor, you got $100 worth of cloth. And somebody was writing on one of the forums, he said, spend a bit more and your suit will easily last you 2 years. And I thought, well, okay, but I mean, spend a bit more and your suit will last you 20 years. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know how long, if somebody's only expecting it to last 2 years, it must be pretty ropey. In terms of material. What's happening, Prof, on the social media wars, the dispatches from the trenches there? Any events?
Nothing unusual.
Social media
just
wars?
The usual tidbits and the usual
Right.
every usual comment here and there from. But I don't get as involved in the comment section as I used to.
No, indeed, no. I've
As
noticed
we've
that.
gotten a lot busier.
Yes,
And
yes.
the channel has gotten a lot more traffic. It just becomes impossible to keep up. So I try to engage, or we all try to
we all do,
engage.
yeah.
I mean, you yourself, often you're going to do some of the lifting in the comment section.
Yes.
But I find these days I'm sort of hemmed down in the DMs. You know,
Well, which is where you need to be.
I stay in the DMs, and sometimes I communicate my answers through the stories.
And you don't rise to some of the provocative.
Oh no. And I mean, not that I wouldn't love to take on a good fight. It's just that
Right.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm beaten down by the fights in the workshop and all the other places. So I just don't have the capacity or energy to get into any fights on social media.
And I used to be drawn into them, and somebody would write something like, "AskOkey's rubbish," or "You don't know what," and I would always write back, says who, and then you'd get these replies. I have to say, I avoid them. Yeah. It's call it cowardice, call it laziness, call it old age. I don't know, but I just can't be bothered.
Yeah. No, but I think
you do get some good suggestions. Though.
But it does. I think it's not unique to just AskOkey. It happens in the life cycle of every. As I guess I would call it, social media brand or content creator. Initially when you start out, there's a few people. Things are. You have time to get into. I mean, they don't even have to be acrimonious. It can be just sort of intellectual back and forth, right? Yeah. And we did that a lot. You do have the time, the capacity for that because there's just not a lot of traffic. As you get busier, as the channel gets bigger, you just don't have the capacity.
Yeah, indeed.
So sometimes, you see some of these provocative statements and you might want to, sort of your impulse might be to respond, but you're like, damn it.
Exactly.
I've got other priorities, and you just whatever, and you move on, right? I think every channel experiences that along the growth curve.
I can
at some
imagine
point,
so.
you just sort of don't have the capacity to engage in these games of tennis.
Well, I can imagine
verbal tennis,
verbal badminton. Yeah, I can imagine a guy going to the bar in the evening, and he sits down there and orders his beer or whatever it is, and he says,
and he's got nothing else to do.
Yeah, so did you nail AskOkey today? Yeah, he didn't even dare to respond. Oh, let's see what you wrote, and they sort of sit there comparing replies from the prof. No, but there was what was it, about a week ago, that we had some rather acrimonious stuff going on there, so I thought I would just check up. I do notice that even on other people's sites, this does happen. There are the professional tailors out there, the guys with decades of experience who know a lot better than we do.
Let me teach you how it's done.
Oh, I know. Yes.
Everybody on the internet is an expert.
Oh, indeed.
The only thing they just are not expert at is just starting their own channels.
Well, there you go. I know. Yes.
Like they're expert in just about everything. They do. Oh, wait, let me teach you. Let me show you how it's done.
I know.
Well, how about you go start your own channel and teach others how it's done? So
teach the world.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I mean, that's why you just read some of these comments and you just laugh. Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know it all.
Yeah, you're so good. You're so good. You could start a
better if
channel.
you actually started your own channel and taught other people rather than sort of jump from channel channel to channel looking to troll other people.
Yeah, and of course we did get quite a bit of follow-up to the points you made about Cary Grant's underwear. That kind of carried about 3 or 4 reels, I think, the back and forth there. People were quite engaged with that. And following that, interesting, the business of bow ties. And so we had quite a bit of discussion there about clip-on ties. And somebody mentioned, Prof, velvet bow ties. Is this a thing?
It is a thing. I do see a place for it, especially in creative black tie. I see a place for it, sort of if you're wearing a velvet dinner jacket or jacquard dinner jacket. Because again, think about it, it's creative black tie, right? So it's really, time for you to sort of shine. So I've seen them, and I've seen them done tastefully, like a black velvet bow tie or midnight with a velvet jacket or like a silk jacket or jacquard jacket.
Right. But would you tie it yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, like a proper self-tie bow tie.
Made of velvet.
Of course, I've seen them.
It's not too thick. to tie?
No, it depends on the lining, right?
okay.
And sort of the gauge of the velvet itself. It has to be light velvet.
Yeah, interesting.
It can be like, 15, 16, 17 ounce,
no.
right? So if it's light gauge and it's
Yes.
made with very, very thin interlining,
Yeah,
then of
yeah.
course it can be knotted, can
And
be tied.
the thing is, velvet bow ties sort of bring up pictures in
Of
one's
the
mind.
70s.
The
Kind of-
Temptations,
the
the
Temptations, I
Tavares,
was
the
gonna say that.
Temptations, Barry White, yes.
I was going to say
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Temptations. Exactly.
No, but they were mild compared to some of the acts. Colored sort of pink dinner jackets with black
With
piping
the
down.
piping,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
Teddy Pendergrass. and
very
some of
very
those
large
guys.
velvet bow tie.
Exactly, bow
Yes.
ties. Just a very, very disco-esque 1970s John
Very,
Travolta
yes,
look.
Yes. Well, clip-on ties were very popular with policemen, as you can imagine, because you're taking down a villain and he grabs you by the tie. He must feel a right fool when he pulls it off, you see, and he can't strangle you with it. He just pulls it off. Bartenders, bouncers, policemen, anybody who would run the risk of getting into combat,
Yeah,
a clip-on tie was very, very useful.
Yeah.
But no, I know what you mean, and I think for some reason everybody agreed with you. Now let's get into the vault, Prof.
Yes.
And we're going to see something from a few years ago, in fact about 7 years ago, and I'll show it to you. I've got it on my phone here, and what I thought would be interesting is for you to take it apart, as it were, and tell us why you moved on from here, because it's quite a good suit. Let me just, there we are. And you remember how you used to do it. You used to walk. Take my phone. How you used to walk into the room upstairs, and this is called Beyond the Foundation.
Correct.
Yeah, you can get the volume up there if you want to listen to it.
Navies. And earlier this week, we looked at a pattern. We looked at a chalk stripe suit, especially how to combine.
This is a beautiful dove gray number.
It's a very nice dove gray number, isn't it? Yes.
Dove gray summer suit, and it was, this is Chris Bear.
Can you pause it for a second?
It's Chris Bear.
No, keep the phone because we'll continue. But Chris Bear is what?
Chris Bear is it's sort of a fresco, or rather, it is Holland and Cherry's attempt at a high twist. fabric.
Okay, right, yes.
So
yes.
it is essentially their version of a high twist. The only difference between it and your original fresco, which is made by Minis, is that the original fresco has a bit of a rough hand.
It does,
right?
yes.
Now, the Chris Bear has a much more silky, smoother hand to it. It has much of a, what they would call a wetter finish. But the compromise there is it's not nearly as openly woven as the fresco, as the high twist by Minis.
I know what you mean. And
So they compromise,
Yeah.
you know, in order, because think about it, when you're going to weave something open, right, it's almost like a basket weave. It's going to be rough to the touch. So with Chris Bear, what they've done is that they've given it a much dressier finish, finer finish, but then it starts to feel almost like worsted wool.
okay, yes.
Right? And if it feels like worsted wool, that means it's also woven very tightly, which means it's not going to ventilate as well as a traditional high
Yes.
twist. So there's a trade-off there. It's like the smoother you go,
Yeah.
right, the more tightly woven it is.
Okay.
And the more you go towards sort of like a true high twist, right, it's going to necessarily, I don't know that there's anyone who's been able to create a high twist with a fine, you know, sort of silky finish.
Because the Harrisons, I think it's Frontier, which is a high twist.
That's the Finmeresco.
Fimaresco
Finmeresco
is
high
a bit
twist.
rough.
It is rough.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
like if it's a high twist or mock leno, anything, you know, high twist open weave is going to have a rough
Like
touch
like
to it.
the tropical air.
The tropical
yeah.
air is the same thing. That's Dugdale's version
Yeah, that's
of
right.
it.
Yeah.
So Dugdale calls it tropical air. Fox calls it fox air or fox travel.
Right, okay.
And, you know, all sorts of vendors have different, summer breeze, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
But in the end, high twist, because of the way it's woven, it's always going to feel sort of grainy, rough,
Yeah.
you know, to the touch. You're never going to have this beautiful, fine, silky finish that you have with.
But your Chris Bear did.
It
Or
did
does.
have a nice hand
Let's
to
have
it.
another look.
It did have a nice hand to it. That's what I'm saying. They had to make Holland and Sherry had to make a compromise. I think.
okay. Oh,
Screen is dead there. Holland and Sherry had to make a compromise because I think that they wanted to create something that felt dressier, that felt dressier to the touch than your regular fresco, while still retaining some of those fresco-like or fresco-esque qualities.
Yeah.
So it is indeed a summer cloth in the sense that it's light. It's about 9-10 ounces.
Right.
So very light, comparable, but
yeah.
I would compare it more to, let's say, tropical wool
Right.
than I would to a true fresco.
Yeah.
So tropical wool, for instance, Harrison's carries some really nice tropical wools like Lesser.
Yep.
They have some Lesser fabrics, Lesser 8-9, which is very popular or used to be, and Abacus, and some of the other like low, what I would call tropical weight wools.
Yes.
Problem with those tropical weight wools is that they hardly drape well.
No, well, 8 or 9 ounce. I mean, you're getting into tissue
They
paper.
hardly drape well, and it's kind of hard to keep them wrinkle free, except gabardine, which you like.
Yeah, but you know that they don't make the good heavy stuff anymore. I think the Dugdale gabardine is 9 ounce, and I have never been able to find a 15 ounce gabardine.
Gabardine,
No,
yes.
not anymore, except for a coat.
Yeah.
So,
So
what was it about this suit? Because you were quite pleased with it then, and
well,
I remember people liked it.
at the time. But if you look at the silhouette, Pete, I keep saying is look at the size of my head.
Yeah.
It is so prominent.
Well, it's the same head that you've got
It is
now.
the same. The head hasn't changed at all. In fact, if anything, the head has grown bigger. It has grown bigger with more success, I suppose, or more accomplishments.
Maybe, yes.
you
So
know.
what was it about the
The thing, and I made a reel on this. If you look at that video, right? If you look at the suit I'm wearing, you know, my head is noticeably quite substantial.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the reason why you notice this is because the garment itself is cut so small and close to the body.
Well,
Look at the shoulders, for instance, right?
Yes,
Shoulders
yes.
are narrow, which
they are, yes.
accentuate the size of your head.
True.
I
And
keep saying that.
does the gorge make your head look bigger? Because the gorge is right up
The
there.
gorge
isn't
is all the way
way
up
up
there.
there, yes.
It draws more attention to the fact that your head is out of balance with the size of the shoulders.
it? Now,
So it draws your eye because the gorge draws the eye. So when you look at this, you look at the gorge and the large lapels. I mean, the problem is not even the fairly large lapels because I don't have large lapels, but the everything is the design of the lapels and some elements are not in sync with the cut of the garment. The shoulders are too narrow.
So with those narrow shoulders, you need a narrower lapel.
You need a narrower lapel.
Right, okay,
Exactly.
okay.
But even with narrow shoulders, you can see that my head appears to be extraordinarily large.
Is that just the camera angle?
No.
Okay.
No. It happens. I mean, I've looked at even still photographs, and Captain will even tell you, like, if you look at some of my old photographs, it's so obvious. It's so painfully obvious. Now I can see it. At the time, I couldn't.
You really couldn't.
I mean, I couldn't. Like, you didn't know any better. But when I look at it now, I look at the proportions. I can see how clearly, with the size of my head, I need wider shoulders, to sort of balance it out.
And the tailor didn't tell you.
Of course, well, he doesn't know it.
He
So
doesn't know.
a lot of tailors, we've had this conversation many times, Pete. A lot of tailors are not architects. They're mechanics
Right.
or engineers.
Okay.
So they're
yeah.
not good, they're not trained to understand silhouette and balance, things of that nature. The artistry of what the whole unit should look like. They're trained to make a garment.
So you mean to what the whole unit should look like when you're wearing it?
When you're wearing it.
When you're wearing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're trained to understand proper fit. Like it
Yeah,
should
yeah,
fit
yeah,
in the
yeah,
armholes.
yeah,
It
that's
should,
right,
It should
yes.
feel good. It should.
Yes.
But they're not trained to sort of understand what an appealing silhouette ought to look like.
Okay. One moment, Prof. Hold that thought. Everybody will be back in a moment after station identification and the break. See you in a minute. Are you the best dressed man in the room wherever you go? If not, why not? It's not that difficult. AskOkey makes bespoke suits, jackets, trousers, and other garments for discerning men all over the world. So next time you look around and feel that you're not quite presentable, give us a call, send us a mail, or send us a direct message on the social media channels, and we'll kit you up to look like a king. Bye for now. So you were saying the silhouette. The tailor doesn't look at how it looks. He doesn't look at you wearing it. He looks at it, rather.
Exactly.
But I think there are a few out there who can do it. One, Frank Shattuck. He seems to have that gift.
Well, look, Pete, I don't like to get into names or discussing names because, as you know, it never ends well.
True,
It rarely ends well.
Yeah.
So I don't like to get into discussing names. I mean, look, when I say this, I mean it as a general statement.
As a general statement.
I don't mean that there aren't any exceptions. Of course, there are exceptions, but in my own experience and just from what I've observed from other people as well, very few tailors have an eye for proportion.
Yeah.
They're very good at what they do. They're good at engineering a garment, at tailoring a garment, at achieving proper fit, right? But a garment could fit properly and look like absolute
Well,
bad
like this one, for example, which does fit properly.
Well, I mean, you could. I would argue that. I mean, it's tight in the waist. You can see the.
But you obviously thought it fit.
I thought it fit at the time,
Yes,
but you can see it pulling at the waist.
It does pull a little bit at the waist.
The design elements are off entirely.
Like
you
you
can
said.
see the lapels are too strong for the overall jacket.
Yes,
You can see that right away. I couldn't recognize these things. You can see the sleeves aren't draping properly because at the time I was even more muscular than I am now.
So the sleeves were too narrow.
They were too narrow. You can see that. You can see the sleeves aren't draping properly. You can see it's too tight in the waist. You can see the jacket pulling in the waist. We haven't even seen the trousers, but just looking at this, you can tell. So the first thing, that the shoulders are too narrow.
Yes.
Shoulders are too narrow. You can see my sloping shoulders. You can see my traps.
Right. Okay.
They're too narrow. It's what Italians would call soft tailoring. So it's unpadded at the shoulder. And what that does is that it basically exposes every bump on your body, which is not necessarily flattering for a guy like me, who is muscular with large traps.
Right. And
so in tailoring, when you start looking at the top here, you want to establish symmetry, right? With the head, symmetry, meaning sort of the size of the head and sort of the width of the shoulders. You want there to be, first of all, because that's the first thing your eye hits, right? You want symmetry between the head and the size of the shoulders. That's one, right? And then as you come down, right? As you come down, we were talking about, what was it? We were talking about
the line of the shoulders.
The line of the shoulders, exactly.
And then you go in.
Exactly. So if you have, for instance, I have sloping shoulders that are muscular, that I have large traps. So you need some structure.
Right.
You need some structure at the shoulder, right, to establish that clean line, symmetry.
Yes.
So, a person like me, I cannot wear what they call sort of soft, unstructured shoulders. In fact, I've always said this, less than 5% of men alive can wear unstructured jackets. Because we all have asymmetric shoulders, be it sort of a drop or sort of sloping shoulders or what have you. Very few men have that perfect symmetry at the shoulder line to carry an unstructured jacket. Yet, a lot of these quacks continue to market unstructured tailoring as quote unquote the thing or the new thing. And people buy into that marketing nonsense. But it doesn't work for most people. And as you can see in that video, that jacket was significantly unstructured. And it was just the wrong cut for me. But the tailor doesn't know that, right?
Because you wanted it.
Because that's not because I wanted it, because that's what he makes for everyone.
Right, and the lapels have quite a curve to them, don't they?
No, the lapels are hand padded, right? So it's, like I said, it's a well-tailored garment. The construction was fine, superb.
And there's the back
You know,
there.
construction was fine, superb, good handwork, everything. But when you talk about the fundamentals, the silhouette, the balance, look at sort of some of the design elements. The lapel is clearly out of proportion with everything else. It's not in balance with the width of the shoulders or the, you know, the shape of the coat itself.
Yes.
There's no drape in the chest.
Yes.
You know, there's no room really. You can see.
No.
There's no room around, so I can't move. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the trousers, right?
There was a little bit of the trousers.
We didn't even have a good look at the trousers. We're just talking. We're just looking at the coat.
Well, there was the trousers coming up in 1 or 2 seconds when you undo, and there they are.
There you go. So you can see again. You know, it's not your typical drain pipe, but you can see it's not draping cleanly from top to bottom.
No, not like they do now. Is this tie a bit too wide for the jacket, or?
Well, the tie is not the problem. I think the problem is the cut of the suit itself. That's a standard sort of 3.5, 375.
Is that all it is?
I think that was one of my custom ties from Italy.
Right. Okay.
3.75 inches, which is fine, which is what I'm wearing now.
Yes, but it looks much bigger in here.
Yeah, because again, it's out of balance with the whole the whole cut of the coat.
Interesting.
So, you know, again, beautiful tailoring. Like I said, handmade. The lapels are hand padded. Very beautiful tailoring. But again, when you miss the concept, right?
Yeah.
When you miss the silhouette, you miss sort of the design elements. You know, then you know, good tailoring doesn't matter because it just doesn't look well.
Indeed. In other words, it's wasted.
Well, I mean, not wasted, but I mean, to the unwashed, they wouldn't know any different or any better. And I thought it was great back then, right? And I thought, oh, wow, I look fantastic. But after so many years and spending time here in the studio and in my drawing room and in the workshop, reviewing and revising these things over and over again, you start to see, you know, now they seem so glaring. And to the uninitiated, they may not even sort of identify these things until, you know, we point them out.
Well, I think one of the things is, Prof, that the uninitiated isn't going to see the handwork inside, and this is one of the points I think about the whole thing about handmade, is that you don't see it. It's like, for example, a very fine car could have a handmade engine, but you wouldn't see that when you're looking at it. When you drive it, you might notice it. Okay, so when you wear the thing, you would notice it and feel it in, for example, the tensions and so forth. But what's amazing, I think, is the fact that, yes, there you were, quite happy with all that stuff in your innocence, your youthful innocence.
Gleeful.
It wasn't that long ago. This video that we've just seen was around the time of your last trip to PT Uomo.
Just
about 7 years
before,
ago.
Maybe it was
just
about
before
8 years. This is about 2017.
Right. Yeah.
So about 8 years ago. 8 years ago.
There you go. Yeah. Yes. And so it's a question of learning, and it's a question of learning what. I think that the main point that we get out of what you've just been talking about is you have to understand how it's going to look on somebody. And if you say that 95% of men can't wear or don't benefit from unstructured jackets, then it's a safe bet to say that 95 benefit from some sort of building up.
Well, that is the whole point of a suit, right? The whole point of the suit is to flatter the human figure.
And this one didn't.
You know, and this one certainly didn't. And I think, you know, when people say, "Oh, I want soft tailoring," I mean, come on, a lot of people look like bags of potato. You know, pardon my.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
pardon my.
Yeah, that's quite
you know,
true. Yes.
Pardon my, but I mean, you see all these men that look like bags of potato, and like, oh, I want the soft, you know, soft tailored look. I want the soft unstructured stuff look. I'm like, no, you don't.
No.
You know, you need sort of a jacket to build you up to sort of look like you have some sort of, you know.
There's something there under the suit.
There's something there under the suit, right?
Yes.
So I think it's just a marketing gimmick. You know, this whole idea of soft and structured tailoring that a lot of again, Italians tend to tend to tout this more than anyone else, but it's just marketing hype, and it doesn't suit most men at all.
No, and if it doesn't suit the guy who's going to wear it, as I said, in a sense it's a wasted effort, because the whole point, as you said, is to highlight, to flatter, and to improve the one who's wearing it.
Human form.
The human form. Now, speaking of the human form, you're off to the workshop, I think, this week?
Tomorrow, to be precise, yes.
And what do you do up there?
Well, I get up to a lot, Pete. I have, as you know, I'm not there every day because I have so many other responsibilities at the corporate level and other things. So, but I like to go in there, especially, I mean, I go in there in the week sometimes, but I like to go on Saturdays.
Right.
I like to go on the weekends when I have nothing pressing to do. I can sort of sit down and that's where we do, most of our creative thinking.
Right.
Hashim and I, we go through our what we call our design pipeline.
Right.
We look through every garment we have in design for the bespoke business. Now we're talking about, because now that we have two workshops, we have to be very, we have to be clear or distinct about what we're talking about. So we're talking about the bespoke workshop here, not the MTN workshop, which is in Japan. So I go in there on Saturday mornings. Usually I sit down with Hashim. We review what's in the pipeline from an R&D standpoint, and I give him pointers, and we sort of put heads together. We make a call on different things. Sometimes there's a test of fit garment that's been made, and we sort of literally, with shears, scissors, and markers and sickles and rulers, and start basically, chopping it up. So we do that for a good part of the day, just sort of intellectual work, design work. And then I personally sit down and I like to sort of go through all the customer orders.
Right.
I like to sit down and,
You still do that?
I still do that. I want to see everything, even if my input is not required, which is seldom. My input actually never required, because, Tim, Hashim, the rest of the guys in production floor, they've really got they've really got their hands around this after so many years. But I still like to go there and just sort of see for myself.
Yes.
I like to go and we go through each customer order, and I ask questions. Why did you do this? Why did you do it like this? I might have an idea about how to do something different.
Yes.
And every time I find out that I go to the workshop for these sessions, there's always a few things that come out as a result of it, especially the customer garment, right? There might be a few changes. You might consider them marginal. The customer might not even notice the difference.
Right.
But for me, I feel like, I want everything that leaves that workshop to be nothing less than, something I would myself wear.
Yeah, indeed, yes.
I don't want anything shipping out of that workshop. If I wouldn't wear it, then it's not leaving that workshop.
Yeah, okay.
So I go through the orders and I go through everything, and I make sure that this is exactly. I'll give you an example. We had a customer in Iowa who we made a bespoke shirt for.
Right.
And he requested a contrast color. Basically, he requested
like a Winchester
shirt. And I was inspecting, it was ready to ship. Literally, I had packed everything, was ready to go off to DHL. And I looked at the shirt. I looked at it. Something didn't seem right. Carlo Riva cotton, which is sort of our top of the line Rolls Royce cotton, everything. And I just picked up on what I didn't think was right. The fabric that was used in the collar, I didn't like it. The white. White cotton
wasn't Carlo Riva.
It wasn't. I don't think it was color. Basically, the white cotton to me did not match the level of the quality of the body of the Carlo Riva fabric itself. And I said, that's it. That just didn't sit well with me. So right away, I told Hashim, listen, call the customer, tell him there's going to be a slight delay in the shipping, but I want this changed. I want this. I want him to order cotton from Alumo of Switzerland, which is where we get our white
Right,
Sort of
okay,
whenever
yeah.
we need plain white fabrics,
Right.
either to use for Winchester color or for the cuffs,
Yeah, yeah.
for my shirts or any other customer shirt. We just order sort of like a bolt from Alumo,
Right,
Switzerland,
right.
just white plain poplin.
And it's good stuff, is it?
It's really good stuff. I mean, they're the second behind Carlo River. You don't get better than Carlo
Oh, really?
River or Alumo, Switzerland, no. As far as shirting goes, no, you don't get better than either of them. I mean, there's Thomas Mason, there's this, there's that. But those are all commercial brands. When you talk about the Bentley and the Rolls Royce of shirting, Carlo River is the Rolls Royce and Alumo of Switzerland is the Bentley.
Oh, really?
It doesn't get better than either of them, and they both supply us. So I had to stop that order and had Hashim order, we had to delay the order.
Yeah.
And I said, I mean, I would wear this, but if I'm delivering a Rolls, right, I don't want to deliver a Rolls with the wheel cover of a Mercedes.
Indeed. No. It looks like a cutting corner.
You understand what I'm saying? Like with the wheel hubs of a Mercedes or an Audi, if I'm delivering a Rolls Royce, it has to be an RR, it has to be a double R top to bottom.
Yes.
So these are sort of some of the things that I might pick up when I go into the workshop. Like I said, the customer might not even have noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a white collar. It's a nice cotton white collar. I mean, he doesn't. But for me, once I see it, I have to do something about it.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
I go through all the orders, and invariably I might pick up on something that just irks me.
Right.
And it probably doesn't bother anyone else, right? Probably doesn't bother, even Hashim or the guys.
Yeah.
The customer would probably never even notice.
Yeah.
Never ever notice, right? But just sort of, it's like once I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
Sure.
So once I've seen it, I'm like, okay, change this or go do this.
Yeah.
So that's usually what happens when I go in on Saturdays. Is just basically sort of I go in to be a thorn in their side, and at least in my own view, to advocate for the customer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Interesting. So and that's probably a full, fairly tiring day for you.
It's a full day. Usually we start in the morning, and I'm usually there. We're usually there till sundown.
Right. Yes, and you've got customer work in progress as well as the completed stuff. But what amazes me though is and I'll explain to you what amazes me about AskOkey, and this shameless plug here, but I have to say it, is that when you go to a in-person tailor and you're doing your fitting, and these guys advertise you can have 6 fittings when you're doing your fitting and the man comes out and he looks at you and he pulls a little pinch in and he puts a needle, or he pulls up the back of the sleeve and he puts a needle in. So what I've seen it, Tim and Hashim will look at a video and say right away, lower the armhole by 1/4 of an inch and pull up the side seam by an equal amount. Or they'll say, take up the back rise by 1/2 an inch.
But you know why?
And it'll be perfect.
But you know why?
No, I don't know why.
It comes from experience.
Well, okay, but these fellows who have pins and
because they've
things,
never had to do visual fittings. It's like when you've never done something, when you've done something over and over, and it's called an instinct, right?
Right.
You develop a sixth sense for it. I mean, that's how knowledge is built.
But it's extraordinary.
But anyone can do it.
Lower the armhole by 1/4 of an inch.
Anyone can do it, and that's how we started, right? When I was making these trousers alone here, like literally, that's how I started. I would sort of I had to learn how to fit garments visually.
Yeah.
And so we were able to sort of take that basic, raw, crude, visual fitting process, and now we've developed systems that make it a bit more sophisticated and more accurate.
Right.
Nevertheless, it's still visual.
It's extraordinary.
Nevertheless, it's still visual. So now we have sort of algorithms to confirm some of our visual, visual instinct or convictions, right? We have we have checks and balances, right? But before I used to do everything literally sort of, on my hunch. But to answer your question or to your point is we've done it for so long that it's become sort of second nature. It's
Yes.
no longer guesswork. It's not like you're
No, I
guessing.
understand, but to say, just from looking at a picture, oh, a quarter of an inch, means you know how tall the guy is, you know how big his armhole is, you know what the distance is from armhole, and you know that it's that quarter of an inch that is just needs to be lowered. So it's and that will affect the way the fabric sits. In other words, you can, if you do something here, it's like Bertalanffy's butterfly. You know,
Yes.
you do something here, it will
It
affect
affects
something
something
here,
else.
and the same thing with the balance.
But also,
just pull it up at the shoulder a little bit.
Remember, Pete, that in tailoring, right? I mean, this is not rocket science. They are very standard. They're very standard problems, right? You know, that are fairly standard, right? You
Right,
know,
okay.
things like a collar gap or
Right,
sort of
sure.
like a slip pitch, and so you know, again, it's not magic. It's not black magic. It's like you have to identify sort of the key things that are usually, you know, where the body is buried, right? And once you know where to look, right, then you can sort of use your sixth sense to gauge how much to adjust. For
Right,
instance,
okay,
if someone's standing and sort of the sleep pitch is off, you know, I can tell like right away, okay, is it, you know, do we need to pitch it forward? Do we need to pitch it backwards? Meaning sort of rotate it forward or rotate it back, and by how much. You can tell about how much to pitch it depending on how badly the sleeve is creasing.
Right, okay.
You understand?
Yep,
So
yep.
if it's just sort of a slight wrinkle or crease, right? Okay, just sort of rotate it 3/8, right? Or
Right.
sort of rotate it a quarter or an eighth.
Right.
If it's really mangled, right? If it's
maybe
kind
a
of
full
like
inch.
maybe like a full inch or like a half inch or 3/4 of it. So this is sort of and you know, when they've done this, because this young man, they've done it so frequently that literally they have it nailed down right to the quarter
Yeah,
inch.
this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing. And because I notice people still fussing about this on the media, saying, oh, you know, you have to get it done in person. But the fact is, the fellows who stand there and pinch it and put a little pin, and then they take the chalk and they mark it like this. Yeah, okay, what they're doing is the same thing as what our team is doing, but it's just that they can, and if you looked at the pins, you'd see, yeah, that's a quarter of an inch. But these guys can do it just from seeing a photograph.
Or video.
And that's, or a video, and that's it. And I just thought that was very surprising. I've never developed that particular skill because I do other things, but it is quite a talent, a practiced talent. So you've got to have an eye for it, obviously,
Absolutely.
first. But it was, as I said, the surprise was, how do you know it's a quarter of an inch and not half an inch? And no, they know.
I just know.
They just know. And so when the customer gets his bespoke customer, gets his test to fit, and they see it, and they see the video of him wearing it, they know exactly what to do with the final garment. The same thing with the side balance. I noticed Tim or Hashim will say, oh, pull up the right panel by half an inch, or pull the collar forward. And you think, yeah, okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm not going to argue. Like you said, you know, but this is more than the tailoring. This is also the design.
You know, things like front balance. What you just described is the front balance, right? When Tim says pull the left side up, you can stand. If a customer is standing and the panel should basically, I call it the kiss test.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the panel should be able to kiss, and they should sort of roll. They should be in parallel. The way we design our panels, they're very linear and vertical. And I did that purposely. Like, you know, it's a design element, but also it's what you call what do you call it again? It's almost kind of like a back test.
Right. Okay.
Right. In engineering, we call it back test. Now, when I was designing our jacket, the single-breasted jacket, I wanted the front panels to be parallel almost all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They're shaped like this, so you notice that a lot of contemporary jackets are sort of cut away.
That's right. Or they swing open.
Or they swing open, or they flare away. But the way I designed it, the original design, which we've still kept to this day, is that the front panels are sort of very linear. They go down and they part all the way at the bottom, almost sort of touching all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And the reason I did that was to make sure that we always get the front balance right.
Yeah. Because
Do you understand what I mean?
I do.
Because
I do.
if the front balance is off, I can see it right away.
Yeah.
If the front balance of the jacket is off,
You mean the left side's higher than the right side?
or
something,
it's not going to sit flush.
Yes,
like
yes,
this.
yes,
It's going
yes.
to sort of swing open.
That's right. Yes.
So if the customer has a TOF on or a jacket on and it's swinging open and it's our design, I know something is wrong.
There you go.
It's like an immediate, it's like a back
It's
test
a
for
back
me
test,
because
yes.
I know, it's designed to sit
Yes.
sort of in parallel like that all the way down.
That's
so
right.
If it's swinging open, it means that there's a front balance issue. The panels need to be sort of released at the shoulder and pulled back, right? It needs to be adjusted at the shoulder to bring the front panels back in balance.
Yes, and you get that. Obviously, with the bespoke, you work on that and fix it for the customer. For the made to measure, obviously you can get a similar effect, but you can't guarantee it on everybody because of slightly different shapes. But
Correct.
you can certainly go a long way towards achieving that, I would imagine,
Yes.
in the design.
Yes, and I think that's one of the advantages of bespoke over MTM is that with MTM, if your body is vary significantly from the standard body shape that's been used to create the pattern, then you're going to have a few of these balance issues.
Yeah, for sure.
You understand?
For
You're
sure.
going to have some of these sort of balance issues. Now, some of that you might be able to rectify with sort of a good alteration tailor.
Yeah.
But again, that's MTM, right? It's not a unique pattern, so it's not going to address all your idiosyncrasies.
Well, it's like what we said on one of these podcasts. It's sort of 60% or 70% of the way there, but it's that last 30% that's the tricky one, and that's what you pay for when you pay for bespoke, along with all the other good stuff that you get. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Prof, thank you very much.
My
Interesting.
pleasure, Pete.
As always, exciting, and we look forward, everybody, to being with you again in a week's time. Don't forget, like and subscribe, and have a very good day ahead, or good evening, as the case may be.
As
Prof,
always,
thank you
Pete,
very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody, or
Prof.
good day. Bye for now.